Hello.
Happy New Year. That was very singing.
Oh,
Very singing.
smashing my way into 2023. Boom.
Right, and that's all about this episode, isn't it? Like, as we start the new year, it feels that it's time to kind of set goals, isn't it? Like, but really, we should be setting goals, not just at the start of the year.
Yeah, we should. Hashtag New Year, New Me, and all that malarkey.
Yeah, but in this episode, we're going to talk all about how to set goals that you can actually achieve. And you know, we've set up a brand new business 3 years ago. We've grown that business hugely. We've worked with lots and lots of clients, helped hundreds and hundreds of wedding businesses grow their business. We've got a really strong social media presence, podcast, events all around the world. We had a massive Christmas event in Brisbane, and we've had 2 WordCons in the UK. But those things didn't happen by accident, did they? And all down to kind of the goals that we've set in our business.
That's it. And I think when we talk about goals, I don't know, like you can replace that word with plans or whatever it is, but it's just the things, the places where you want to go in your business.
Yeah, that's right. But kind of what you're going to get by the end of this episode, hopefully, is that the goal itself isn't the important part. It's actually the most important part is the plan that you put together to achieve that goal. And also keep listening, because at the end of this episode, we'll be giving you a little bonus that's going to be able to help you that. So listen out for that later in the show. How do you feel about goals, Roxy? Do you feel sometimes that they can be just a little bit overwhelming?
One of the words that I wrote down in big letters when we were talking about this podcast was overwhelm. I'm a bugger for getting business overwhelm anyway, but when it comes to goals, by God, like, it can give me the overwhelm heebie-jeebies. It really is.
I've got a funny story to tell you about heebie-jeebies, but I can't say it on the podcast. Yeah, I can't say it on the podcast, but my daughter doesn't hear the word heebie-jeebies. She hears like a rather rude word. So when I say, oh, that's giving me the heebie-jeebies, she thinks of an anatomy word. That's what she hears, and I don't know why.
Okay,
we digress.
Yeah, I don't know about anyone else listening, but when you think about goals, it fills me with like an overwhelm anxiety. And I think that is because it kind of makes my brain go, how are we even going to achieve that when we've already got X, Y, and Z going on? You've got the kids, you've got this, you've got that, you're trying to live your best life, and then now you want me to do this as well.
I think for me, when I think about setting goals or anything like that, it takes me back to those like interview questions when you worked for an employer, or if you ever had like a yearly review with your employer, or like an annual review, and they'd say, right, what do you want to be doing in 12 months time, or where do you see yourself in 10 years time, Casey? And I'm like, I've got no idea. And thinking that long into the future, I know kind of for the pair of us really, isn't it? But it does not work for me at all. I can sort of think, right, monetary wise, this is what I want to earn next year, roughly, but 5 years time, 10 years time,
mate, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow.
It kind of felt impossible to answer, and still feels impossible to answer. I wouldn't be able to say right now like what I want to, where I want to be in 5 years, what I want to be doing. I'd be able to say like, you know, I want to be happy, I want to be settled, but in terms of like career or business, like God knows, like I've got absolutely no idea how to answer that.
Actually, when we think about the last couple of years, like if that's taught us anything, that's taught that things are changeable. The rug can be pulled like at any time. Not to stress anyone, but I always like to think about goals in more of a short-term kind of way. Like I like a big goal, like okay, like you said, financial goal for the year, blah 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 blah. But it's about, for me, in my mind, breaking it down into manageable little goals, so my brain doesn't actually freeze.
I think as well, like having those longer term post 12 month sort of things. We've all got life can throw us some like really weird curveballs, and it's no secret to those listening, and if you don't know us or haven't listened to a lot of podcasts before, like we've both got children with additional needs, and months can look very different from other months very, very quickly, and it's just, it can be difficult to kind of plan your business. So like if we were to say we're going to do this in this month, or we're going to launch this new product in this month, and then all crap hits the fan and we need to totally change that because it's not fitting with the children. And I wouldn't have been able to foresee a few months ago that my son wasn't going to be in school at the moment because he's unwell, and kind of planning goals and thinking about long-term goals can be really daunting when you've got other priorities going on in your life, whether other people might be listening and thinking, I don't have children, or I don't have children that are unwell or disabled or additional needs or anything like that. But we all have things going on in life and things that can kind of throw us curveballs. We know
life loves to chuck a curveball at us all, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, we know that that's not just us. So I kind of think that, well, I know that long-term goal setting kind of post 12 months for me is really difficult to do around the children. And, the whole reason why we set up this business, or I got into business anyway, was to kind of have a business that is going to work around the children and work around the family. And there's lots of people that will say to us, like all the time, oh, girls, like you should be doing this with your business, you should be doing that with your business, or you've got such a massive community, like you should be going here and doing that and speaking here, and have you heard about this event there, and expand your business in this country and that country. But one of our kind of whys, and probably a lot of how we set our goals and think about where we want our business to go from, is that it's got to work around our family, isn't it? Like
100%. If it's not malleable around the family, it's not happening. Like it's not, like you say, it all comes from our whys, and family orientation is big up there on the list, isn't it? Like one of the biggest things. I want to be able to do the school run. I want to be able to go and see a play, or I don't know, do whatever it is, really. But yeah, it's really important that it does work around the family for us. And I suppose those of you listening can also relate. It might not be family, but it might be another commitment, or you might be passionate about, I don't know, you might have a hobby that takes up X amount of your time. So you work your business around that and your goals. It's absolutely fine. It's why we are business owners. We want that control, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like whatever it is usually always a motivator, and some people will have like very business orientated goals, and I can definitely relate. Like we've got some very business orientated goals, like this year, like those of you that will know, like our events kind of completely dissipated. We went from having kind of 300 events in 2019 to like 0 2020, 0 2021, and
what are you doing?
A few in 2022, because of things going on in the world that were outside of our control. And one of our business goals for 2023 will be to build up that side of the business again, and to kind of concentrate on that side of the business. And that is a business orientated goal that we will have. And a lot of you will probably set quite business orientated goals, and we do too, but ultimately like our goals are driven by our why. So you can have business related goals and separate to your family or separate to kind of what's going on at home, but usually there's some kind of motivator there underneath that, isn't there? It's that the motivation you've said you want to be able to pick up the kids from school. I want to be able to do that as well. I set up this business and I was a single parent, and that's what I needed to do. I needed to be there. There was no choice, and of course I want to do that as well. And way back before I even started my businesses, I did want that kind of work-life balance, whereby I would be able to, be around for the children, and I didn't want to put them in long hours at nursery and things like that. That's just not what I wanted to do. So we're sure that everybody's goals will be linked to some sort of personal reason. whether it is that you want to get on the property ladder, or you want to save for retirement, or you want to pay for a really great family holiday next year, whatever it is, like there will be a motivator there somewhere.
When you keep saying motivator, I just keep hearing Mr. Motivator. Anyway, don't know why.
But what we kind of found is that when we set huge goals that were like miles away from where we are, and we went to a big event last year, didn't we? And it was like, oh, what do you want to do in 12 months? Like, where's your business going to be in 2 years? Like, but if you're not hitting 6 figures and, you're not close to 6 figures at all, and it's like, right, next year, I'm going to hit 6 figures. Like, how are you going to get there? And that can be really demotivating. Like, if you can't, like, it seems so far away that it's unachievable.
If you can't even kind of picture yourself.
Yeah, picture it, or kind of think of a plan and work backwards and say, right, that's what I want to achieve. These are the steps, and is it reasonable to achieve that in that time?
So I think if you do get those the anxiety pangs about this, definitely don't put that much pressure on yourself to think of those kind of massive goals in that way at all. And actually, can I just say as well, any goal that we have set and then we have kind of worked backwards and broken it down into little ones and we've achieved it, that then like tells my anxiety now, like, hold on a minute, like, you can do it and you don't need to feel that way. And we're going to teach you some ways today, aren't we?
Yeah, like I just think it can just be quite difficult to kind of envisage that. And 6 figures might not even motivate you. That might not be like 4 years, and whatever your goal is, whether it's to kind of take on more clients or work with a better standard of client, or to raise your prices next year, or whatever it is, it needs to seem achievable. Like, we work to deadlines kind of great, don't we? Like, a lot of what we do is deadline work, especially if we're working with clients, or our clients want to see results, and a lot of it can be kind of deadline work, and you don't have to work like this. You might be listening to this and say, I work really well with like really long-term goals, and I've got a plan for like when I'm 50 and when I'm 60 and all of this. You don't have to work like that. But for us, that kind of long-term, kind of really far away thing demotivates me, and I don't even know. Like, I could not sit here and say what I'm going to be doing in 10 years time and what my life is going to look like. However you do it though, the thing is to set mini goals to get to that big goal.
Little baby mini goals.
And
nice as well, when you hit those little goals, you tick it off and you're like, boom.
It's like a mini celebration every time, isn't it?
It definitely.
And we've kind of found like that unless you're specific on what it is that you want to do, when you're going to do it, that you can't make a plan to get that done. So whether it's like you want to take on a certain amount of weddings next year, you want to convert a certain amount of clients next year, you then formulate a plan, and to do that, well, what's my conversion rate? My conversion rate is I'm converting like 1 in 10 wedding, 1 in 4, and I want to book 10 weddings next year. Well, I'm going to need to speak to 40 people. I'm going to have 40 consultations. How am I going to get 40 consultations? Well, is that going to look like you need more traffic to your website, or you need to be going to different wedding fairs? And it's about breaking those things down, and kind of, I like to do it on like a big piece of paper, don't we? We kind of do it on a piece of paper. And there's lots of different coloured pens, and we're like writing all over.
Different coloured pen means a different kind of like, maybe it's marketing, or maybe it's like a different aspect
of the business. And we start to break that down into kind of those achievable things. And like exactly what you said, like every time that gets ticked off, that's like a celebratory moment. Like, we're seeing steps towards that goal. But not all goals need to be about achieving things. It could actually be about removing something in your diary, or removing something in your life as well. And it could be like you've mentioned, wanting to be around for the school run. So it could be, actually, next year I don't want to work past 3 p.m. every day. I want to have that time for my family, or I'm going to have every Wednesday off, whatever it is. It could actually be, it's not always just about I need 6 figures.
Yeah. And this takes me back to actually, when we decided that we didn't want to do evenings. Like, because at one point we did evening calls and things like that, but then we was like, do you know what? No, I want to binge Netflix, want to do whatever I want to do in the evening, spend time with the partners, the kids, whatever it is. So we took that decision and set the goal. One, not even a goal, we just made the decision. And actually looking back, much happier for it. And I think that's an important part of goals, is that they need to make you happy. Like, what is happiness to you?
For sure. So kind of our kind of tips, first tip really is to get specific on what you are wanting to achieve. So whether you do it in sort of 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or even if you're somebody that's like, girls, I know where my life's going to be in 10 years time.
Firstly,
like,
teach me.
It needs to be specific. Like, what do you want to achieve? When do you want to achieve it by? And then you can really get into kind of building that plan around that goal.
Can we talk about timescales for one little second? Because anytime that we've got like a little mini master plan, we're like, okay, we're coming up with this idea. When do you want to launch it? And I'm like, next week. How unrealistic am I when it comes to these kinds of timescales?
You know what? I was actually going to talk about the opposite thing. So when we, and I feel like when we talk about timescales, like people drop off and they're like, oh, like, yeah, when it gets done. Or they can kind of set unrealistic goals, like in their business. But what is important is that you set measured goals, because that's how you can keep motivated. If you can actually see yourself getting closer and closer to that goal, or, you know, even beating that goal. We've had months where we beat our revenue goal for that month, and it feels good. It feels really good, doesn't it?
Of course.
But it can get overwhelming to focus about like everything at once. But exactly what you were saying, like, oh, if you wanted to launch something like in a week, I think some of the time we fall into the bandwagon of like, okay, we're going to have such and such secret projects go on, or we're going to make such and such secret course or secret things that we're going to do by such and such a date. And it doesn't, we know we've got things on the go right now that we don't have an end date to have it completed for. Whereby, if we say we're going to get something done and we're like, this is being done this month, like, we get it done, don't we? Like,
smash it. Literally.
Yeah, we're like, okay, right. We'll pull out a couple of days, like we'll get up on a Saturday and we'll just do a quick bit of work before the kids get up, whatever it needs to be done to get done, or we'll end up
having like a realistic time scale, hasn't it? You've got to sit and you've got to think, okay, what else is going on in my life? What else is going on in my business right now? If I give myself a month to complete that, is that going to be enough? Because if you know anyway from the off that's not going to happen, then it's definitely not going to happen anyway. So you've got to be realistic, but at the same time, also give yourself like a little bit of something to motivate you and to shove you along the way. Bit of a kick up the bum.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one of the reasons why it can look so overwhelming and daunting to kind of plan 12 months at once, because it just seems so far ahead. And if you're breaking that down into step by step by step, like in, you know, this year I want to make such and such revenue, or take on so many clients, or whatever it is, and then you break in each individual thing down into, well, that might mean that my website needs improving, or my marketing needs improving here. Well, what does that look like? What does this look like over here? It can get a lot when you're doing 12 months at once. But if you're kind of breaking that down then into, let's say it was a revenue goal, and not everybody's goals will be revenue orientated, but this is just an example. You could then break that down over 12 months. So what does that look like over 12 months? And some months you'll be busier, especially in the industry that we're in. Some months will be quieter. So you need to factor that in. But then each month, what do you need to do those months to achieve that goal? And rather than have a 12-monthly goal, it will be a month-by-month revenue goal. And then in the months where you're a little bit quieter, is that the time that you look at your SEO? Is that the time then that you focus on your marketing, as well as the steps that are going to help you get to that revenue goal? But
sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it can be really difficult to look just really far ahead, but however it works with you, whether you plan for kind of a week at a time, a month at a time, 4 to 6 months, whatever, you need to break it down into those smaller goals.
Let's break it down. I don't know what's wrong with me today, but I was just going to say, let's all just take a moment to appreciate the fact, you know, and to realize that we only get these, I don't know, maybe if goals like put the fear of God in it, you only feel like that because you care, because you want your business to succeed. So without these kind of goals and these steps, you will never move forward in your business. So well done, round of applause to everyone who's even like here, showing up, listening, wanting to smash
it, guys, you're doing it. Next kind of point we need to do, and we're kind of hot on this, and I know so many people don't like to do it, and I know the reason that you don't like to do it, but we've got to get over ourselves, guys. Get over yourself.
Put your big girl pants on.
It's looking backwards over, right, what's happened over the last 12 months. And one of the first actual things that we ever did for our network, for the Wedding Business Hub, was a review document, wasn't it, whereby people could go in and audit every area of their business for the previous 12 months. And that was one of the first things that we launched, because it is really important to look backwards to see what you need to change over the next 12 months. Like, did you achieve your goal last year? Why didn't you achieve your goal? What could you do better?
I'll whack that in the show notes, guys, so you can have a look at that.
Like, look back on like the statistics, the sales, how many consultations did you have? How many of those did you convert? Is that looking good to you right now? Could you improve that? And how have you felt about the last 12 months? And this is something you touched on a minute ago, as to like how you felt about your business. Now, you could be in a position, and I was in this position, I had a very successful business, 6-figure business, 5 members of staff underneath me. I was kind of in a management role, kind of coming in and overseeing. I was winning awards. I was in newspapers. I'd won like a countrywide award.
So on paper, you'd think, geez, she must be so happy. She's smashing it.
But the reality of that was I was stressed. I was underweight. I was not eating properly because I was just so stressed with kind of the pressure of work and the kids. I was a single parent at the time, and all of that balance. And on reflection, absolutely was not happy at all, and didn't feel actually I'd got that balance right at all. And you know, my goal ultimately was to build a business that would work around my family, and it really wasn't doing that. And then, as you know, what happened was we set up this business, and this business gave me more of that focus in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? It fulfilled that kind of goal of being able to spend more time with the family, and meant I could work the hours I wanted to work, be able to be there to support the children who were very young. Like, we're talking, they were like 2 and
only baby.
5. Yeah, they were littlies, and be able to do that. Now, on paper, I wasn't even 30. I'd got into like one of the top 3 business women to watch in the country. I'd won an enterprise award. We were on Netflix. We had like TV shows ringing us, like Don't Tell the Bride, Yes to the Dress were coming back. We had like so many doors open, so many opportunities, and people would have looked in on that and be like, God, she's smashing it. Like she's like, this is what's happening. We had a big shop, like 5 staff members. You know, even you went from part-time 1 day a week to like full-time managing this shop in like 6 months. It was just like,
it was like a whirlwind, wasn't it? It was just, and I don't think, well, looking back, that would not have been as like sustainable for.
No, like, and purely based on the way I felt, totally changed my business, totally changed, and walked away and totally changed now what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to sit there and think, oh my God, I need to totally change what I'm doing. But are you actually enjoying your work? Are you happy? Are you happy with the niche that you've got? Are you happy with the clients that you're attracting? What parts do you love? What parts don't you love? And do you need like to just simplify anything, or do you need to remove anything or change anything? And if you do, what is that?
Yeah, I think, you know, sitting for a moment, 10 minutes, half an hour, just contemplating, just thinking. It's a really important process before then you go and set your new goals, because you know, you can work out like, okay, if I change that one small thing, that's gonna like make mine next year.
Yeah, and it can be a small thing. It doesn't have to be like, you know, that's quite a dramatic story, but you know, it happens.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But it could be that you love your job, but you hate the admin side. Like, could you get a VA that's going to be able to help you with that? Or maybe you hate onboarding clients, or you don't like Canva, could you buy some templates that are going to help you with Canva, or whatever, like whatever it is, like it could just be that little solution that helps you be happier in your business.
Yeah, just know that there are people out there that love the bits of the business that you do not like.
Yeah, and it could, you know, it's not just all about Instagram followers and 6 figures or how many clients you've got. It's actually like about being happier in your business, less stressed, less tired. I
mean, because we've said this before, the happier and the more you thrive in your business, it just filters through. It literally,
and that attracts good clients anyway, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But kind of the last kind of thing we're going to say before we let you know about that download, that freebie that we've got that you can go and get your hands on, is not paying attention to others and other people's goals. Like, their goals are their business, aren't they? Like, if they want to get 1 million followers or £1 million in the bank or whatever it is, posh sports car, holidays every single month, it's no reflection on you and your business and how good you are in business if it's got nothing to do with you and nothing to do with where you're heading in your business. And it's really easy, isn't it, to focus on what other people are doing and looking at like what their processes are like, or measuring your success based on their goals.
And you will never know either, like when you're looking at this, I don't know, person or Instagram feed, like, are they even truly happy? You're never going to know. You only see like the surface of it, but stay in your own lane. You do you, and let the rest of the world do the rest of the world. Just be happy, be true to yourself. And that's where
it doesn't have to be all this multi-6 figure cars. And one of the things I kind of said a couple of years ago, so we were about 12 months into this business, was I don't want the stress. So some areas of our business, and this was as COVID was sort of happening. Yes, we had this business that was kind of global and we had lots of networking events going on, but it was a lot of stress, wasn't it? Like, we had businesses on 2 different time zones. So if something went wrong or somebody needed some support, that meant late nights, didn't it? So it meant late nights for us, meetings, things that, like, okay, that's gone down over here, like, we need to sort that out right now.
And I think the thing with that, actually, when I actually look back, is because, you know, we grew rapid, didn't we? We grew rapid. So maybe looking back, we didn't put in enough like goals or things we wanted to achieve. So we were running before we could walk. So then, which led to stress.
It was stressful, and like looking, and you know, COVID gave us that opportunity to pause and say, right, what do we want now? Like, we're coming back now with experience. That's how I kind of like said, right?
Yeah, definitely.
We're not starting again. We're starting again with experience this time. So we know like how we did it first time round and how we want to do it this time. So what kind of came about from having this business that went from nothing to kind of 50 locations in the UK and abroad in less than 9 months and 300 events was, we were constant, weren't we? Like constant. Somebody wanted us because we had a big team. We had like 50 people to manage. So constantly somebody needed our attention. And one of the things that and I remember saying it to my family at home, and I remember saying it to my partner and saying, you know, I don't want this big business, actually, like this big business, just want a little business. I want a little business where I can, you know, come home, be mum, a little business that, you know, pays my car a month, puts petrol in the car, food on the table, that sort of thing. Whereby, like, I'm not stressed. We get one life. And I want to be able to be like, you know, we work for such a long period of our life that I want to enjoy my job and enjoy. So the change for us really was systemizing what we did, wasn't it? And some of the things we didn't have to do every single task, and we could systemize things. And that pause over COVID gave us that chance to kind of look at it and think, what do we want to change? And that's what's important about looking backwards, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Is to think, right, it doesn't just have to be money or Instagram followers. It can actually be a feeling, or, you know, next year I just want to feel less stressed, or I want to be able to enjoy a holiday, whatever it is, like, but to help and get you started on this and be able to look back and reflect on the last 12 months and kind of put everything into some sort of perspective and some sort of like out of your mind and onto paper, because that can help, can't it? It helps us for sure. We've got a lovely little download. We'll pop it inside the show notes. It's going to help you look and review over your last 12 months so that you're able to plan your goals going into 2023. Whether you're planning short-term goals or long-term goals, it's going to help you get that started. And we'd love to know, like, how your thoughts on this episode, whether what we've said has resonated with you. Leave us a little review if you've not left us a review before.
Please.
It helps other people to find us, and it'll just help us to know, like, yes, you've found that helpful. Yes, go talk more on this topic. We found this helpful. Or, you know, let us know some of your goals. If you're somebody that works really well with that, kind of having that accountability, or having that somebody to say, I'm putting it out, this is what I want to do next year, or this is what I want to do the next 3 months, let us know. We're more than happy to kind of spur you on and keep you accountable.
Oh, we'll give you some bum kicks if you want. Don't worry about that.
Good with a little bum kick, isn't it? Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Go and get your hands on that download. And we look forward to hearing all about your goals over the next few months.
Go and smash them. See you later.
Bye.